We already knew she was eccentric and creative, and now Denmark's Queen Margrethe II has used those qualities to bestow a special honor, the title of the longest ruling monarch in the history of the country, which has the oldest monarchy in Europe, even older than the British. Last year, Margrethe celebrated half a century on the throne, celebrations that were partially undone by the final throes of the pandemic and the Queen's passing. Her distant ancestor Christian IV ruled as king for nearly 60 years. But according to the stubborn monarch, he was barely 10 years old when his father died, and a board of guardians took over until he came of age. Scandal. Thanks to this calculating trick, Queen Margrethe has ruled longer than Christian IV since mid-July. And she succeeded, because the Danish monarchy is not only the oldest but also the most popular on the continent. Despite the fact that last year Margrethe caused a scandal that made world news when she stripped half of her grandchildren of their princely titles. Meanwhile, that rift within the family seems to be healing, and the former princes seem to see the benefit of it as well. I always considered myself a free spirit, grandson Nicholas now says. The longest ruling monarch in the world. Besides, this was far from the first time her loved ones had given the Queen headaches. Ruling Denmark is one thing for Margrethe, ruling her family is another. After the death of Elizabeth II, Queen Margrethe was the longest reigning monarch in the world, but she was not destined at birth to take the Danish throne. In 1940, princesses were still excluded from the succession to the throne. Since her parents, King Frederik IX and Queen Ingrid, had two more daughters after Margrethe Benedicta and Anne-Marie, her father decided to change the law. King Frederik IX made an effort to change the law to ensure that his daughter Margrethe was eligible to inherit the throne. This move eventually allowed Margrethe to become Queen of Denmark and give rise to the longest reign in the history of the Danish monarchy. During World War II, Denmark was occupied by Nazi Germany. During this period, King Frederik IX and his family were in exile in Sweden. In 1943, Frederik IX issued a declaration in which he declared that his daughter Margrethe had equal rights to inherit the throne despite her female gender. This declaration paved the way for a change in the law of succession to the throne, which had previously excluded women from succession. From then on, Margrethe became the official heir to the throne, and when her father died in 1972, she ascended the throne as Queen Margrethe II. Her reign had already lasted at that point, and she continued to rule Denmark until the very moment of your post. Interestingly, overcoming this hurdle and changing the law of succession to the throne not only allowed Margrethe to become queen, but also raised the important issue of gender equality in hereditary monarchies. This move influenced other monarchies, where discussions also began about the need to change the rules of succession. Thus, Queen Margrethe II used her eccentricity and creativity not only to rule the country, but also to change history and secure her place on the list of the world's longest reigning monarchs.